Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt and mistress of Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, decided to commit suicide after her troops lost to Gaius Octavius, the future first emperor of Rome. Cleopatra was born in 69 BC. Birth. She was named Cleopatra VII after her father Ptolemy XII died in 51 BC. His brother did Ptolemy XIII at the same time. To kings Cleopatra and Ptolemy descended from the Macedonian dynasty after the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC. Egypt ruled. To increase her influence over the Egyptian people, she was also declared the daughter of the Egyptian sun god Ra. What's the full story? Let's watch this video until it's finished. Before watching this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and press the bell button to get interesting stories from world-famous figures. As it turned out, the transfer of power did not go smoothly. Cleopatra soon fell out with her brother, and in 48 BC civil war broke out. Civil war, according to history, also swept across the sea, more precisely in Rome, the greatest power in the Western world. How Cleopatra prepared to summon Ptolemy XIII. Attacking with a large army, the Roman civil war apparently spread to Egypt. Julius Caesar defeats Pompey the Great in Greece. He fled to Egypt to seek refuge, but was instead killed by agents of Ptolemy XIII. Soon after, Caesar reached Egypt's then capital, Alexandria, and found his enemy dead. Caesar then decided to restore order in Egypt. Despite Caesar's meddling in Egypt, Rome tried to increase its power over prosperous Egypt over the past century. Upon hearing that Caesar was in Egypt, Cleopatra attempted to further her political goals by winning over the Roman leadership. Cleopatra decided to go to the Egyptian royal palace in Alexandria and meet Caesar. Caesar was so fascinated by Cleopatra's beauty that he agreed to act as a mediator on her behalf in the Egyptian civil war. In 47 BC, Ptolemy XIII died when his troops defeated Caesar's. Cleopatra was later made co-ruler of Egypt along with another brother, Ptolemy XIV. Caesar and Cleopatra spent several weeks in intercourse until Caesar left for Asia Minor, Anatolia, Turkey. In 47 BC, Cleopatra gave birth to a son named Caesaron, whom she claimed was Caesar's, meaning Little Emperor. After winning the campaign, Caesar returned to Rome. Cleopatra and Caesarion followed him to the Roman capital. According to a negotiated agreement, Cleopatra lived peacefully in a villa belonging to Caesar outside the capital. When Caesar was assassinated in March 44 BC, Cleopatra decided to return to Egypt. Ptolemy XIV died soon after, possibly poisoned by Cleopatra. The Queen of Egypt then made Caesarion county ruler of Egypt with her, naming him Ptolemy XV. Emperor. After Caesar's death, Rome was plunged into another civil war that ended in 43 BC, CHR. Temporarily finished with the formation of the Triad. A triumvirate consisting of Caesar's nephew, and Crown Prince Gaius Octavius, a powerful general named Mark Antony, and the Roman statesman Lepidus Antonius takes over the eastern provinces of the Roman Empire and summons Cleopatra to Tarsus in Asia Minor to answer. Accusations that he was aiding his enemies. Cleopatra tried to seduce Antony in 41 BC. He arrived in Tarsus on a magnificent barge, disguised as Venus, the Roman god of love. Cleopatra's efforts were successful. Antony wants to go to Alexandria with Cleopatra, where they spend the winter party. 40 BC. In 300 BC, Antony returned to Rome, and married Octavius's sister, Octavia, to mend his strained alliance with Octavius. Despite this, relations between the triumvirate continued to deteriorate. In 37 BC, Antony divorced Octavia, and traveled east to get Cleopatra to join him in Syria. Cleopatra gave birth to twins, a son and a daughter, at different times. According to the propaganda requested by Octavius, the lovers married. This violated Roman law, which prohibited Romans from marrying foreigners. On the other hand, Antony's unsuccessful campaign against the Scouts in 36 BC undermined his authority, but 34 BC he was successful against the Armenians. To celebrate the victory, Antony organized a march through the streets of Alexandria, where he and Cleopatra sat on golden thrones. Caesarion and his children were given impressive royal titles. Many in Rome, encouraged by Octavius, interpreted the spectacle as a sign that Antony intended to leave the Roman Empire into foreign hands. After several years of debate and propaganda attacks, Octavius 31 BC declared BC Cleopatra and Antonius war. Octavius's enemies flocked to Antony's side. But Antonio, a brilliant military commander, was successful against the enemy forces. September 2, 31 BC, their fleets collided at Actium, Greece. After a fierce battle, Cleopatra decided to escape, and sailed to Egypt with her 60 ships. Antonio then broke through the enemy lines, and followed him. The confused fleet surrendered to Octavius. A week later, Antony's ground forces surrendered. Almost a year later, Octavius arrived in Alexandria, and his troops again defeated Antony. After the battle was over, Cleopatra fled to the mausoleum she had built herself. When Antonius heard a rumor that Cleopatra had died, he stabbed himself with his sword. Before he died, another messenger came to say that Cleopatra was still alive. Antony is then taken to Cleopatra's mausoleum, where he dies after offering Cleopatra peace to Octavius. Finally, Cleopatra met Octavius, and the Egyptian queen again used her charm to seduce Octavius. But unfortunately, Cleopatra's charm failed to convince Octavius. Instead of falling under the rule of Octavius, Cleopatra died on August 12, 30 BC. By suicide, perhaps with snake venom. Octavius then executed Caesarion, annexed Egypt to the Roman Empire, and used Cleopatra's wealth for her veterans. 27 BC, Octavian Augustus becomes the first and most successful Roman emperor. He ruled the Roman Empire until his death in AD 14. At the age of 75 years.